doing a TV/movie review. This week we are going to be doing a Wiedershehen Pet episode called The Last Rites. Now, in this episode, we start off with Barry and Moxie attempting to get a suntan to help with their complexions, whilst Oz has been given an opportunity to sell on some pornographic videos, and Oz has got an idea of shipping them back to the UK and selling them on over in England. So he first attempts to go and have a word with Bomber, who, being distracted, gets injured and his leg having to be put in plaster. Whilst at the hospital with Dennis and Neville, Bomber goes and gets his leg put in plaster, and they meet an old expat called Headley, who is being very cantankerous to the German nurses, not doing as he's told, and so forth. So the nurses ask Dennis and Neville to have a word with him, because obviously, knowing that they're British, they might get him to do something, be a little bit nicer to the German nurses. And they start talking to him, and he starts telling them about why he was over in Germany in the first place. He started off as a soldier. He left the army, fell in love, all that sort of stuff, and he generally tried to tell them all about his life over in Germany and why he wouldn't go back to England. So, over the next couple of days, Oz speaks to, once it becomes obvious that Bomber isn't interested in his money-making scheme, the porno films, Oz talks to Moxie and Barry about joining in this business venture with him, and they seem to be quite happy to join in, because they think a bit of extra money for them to take home back to England, so their time over in Germany hasn't been a complete waste of time. Unfortunately, after a couple more visits between Dennis and Neville with Headley, Headley passes away, and it's very sad, and they do remember that Headley did tell them that he had a sister who lived in London. And as Wayne is heading home back to England for a family wedding, Dennis and the rest of the lads ask him to go and tell Headley's sister about her brother and how he died, and how the 7 of them believe that he should be returned to the UK to be buried. It's roughly around this time when Oz starts to think his initial idea of how to get the videos back over to England has been stopped because of customs and everything like that, so he has to rethink how to get the tapes back over to England to his person that he's selling them to. And he has a great idea that if they can get Headley back over to England, if he puts the tapes into the coffin just before once he gets taken off the boat, he can open up the coffin again, and he can get the tapes out, give them to whoever he's selling them to, and seal the coffin back up. Unfortunately, when Wayne gets to Headley's sister's house, she tells him the real story about his life, which was that he had a family over here in England. He got thrown out of the army for selling equipment to the Russians, and he became a very cantankerous old man who no one particularly liked. And she said, well, I think as he died in Germany, he should be buried in Germany. So Wayne gets on the telephone and tells Dennis this, and they get the coffin with his body in off the transport that they were using to get it taken back over to England, without telling Oz, and getting it cremated. Oz at this point has travelled over to England to meet the coffin, to get the tapes out. Once he hears about it, he is distraught, very upset, because obviously that is probably hundreds of Deutschmarks that he spent that he will never get again. And that is the end of the episode. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I shall, the rating I'm going to give Wiedershehen Pet, The Last Rites, is a number 4. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.